DreAllDay.com.
Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Let's talk about creating your success, folks, and a simple principle that I want you to keep in mind. I'm telling you simple principles all the time, but because they're simple, people take them for granted, and because they're so simple, people tend to forget them. So I got to remind you of these principles over and over again. And I send these out in my daily motivation text, by the way. So if you're not in my text community, text me at my number, which is down below in the description. I'll tell you at the end of this video, and you can be getting those from me every single day. And here's the principle. Success complies with absolutes. It complies with absolutes and definites. Success does not comply with maybes. It does not comply with suggestions. It does not comply with halfway commitments. It complies when you tell it what you absolutely want, what you're absolutely doing, and you stand on what you're absolutely about. They need to put a stop sign at this intersection. There's too many people walking, and then the cars are coming. I mean, I stopped for the people, but it's so many people. They gotta put some kind of control on this. Anyway, absolute, like I just said. Success does not comply when you tell it what you might do, or what you should do, or what you could do, or what you're thinking about doing. And this is what holds so many people back from their success. Some of you who are listening right now, the main thing holding you back from your success is not that you are completely clueless as to what needs to happen. You might be clueless as to what needs to happen. Oftentimes people are clueless, but some of you are not completely clueless. You got a solid enough idea of at least what direction you need to go. You might not have 100%, you might not be 100% accurate, but you know enough that you could at least take the steps to get there, right? The reason that many people aren't getting to their success, even though you quote unquote know what you need to do, is because you're telling yourself things like, I should do X, I should work harder, or I should get focused, or I want to get better at selling, or I know I'm going to need to get organized and more strategic and systematic in the way that I'm running my business and the way that I'm operating in my career. You tell yourself that you should, would, could, you know you need it. You're saying all the stuff that sounds good, but you're not giving yourself any absolutes. And because you're not giving yourself absolutes, understand that your subconscious mind is not really listening to anything that you're saying. Therefore, all the stuff that you're saying, although it sounds good and you know that it's quote unquote right, or at least is in the right direction, you're still not getting the results of the stuff that you're saying to yourself because you're only going halfway with it. Anything that you really want to do, I'll tell you, I read this book back in when I first got introduced to network marketing. This was like the early 2000s, right? I would go to they had a little hotel meetings, and one time this guy might not even been in a hotel meeting, might have been at like a bigger meeting, like like a regional meeting or something like that. This guy named Paul J. Meyer. Paul J. Meyer, I think he might have passed away because he was very old at the time that I heard him speak. But he came and he spoke at one of these events one of these like hotel meetings that I was at. And he was talking about just his sales career. His background was in sales. And a lot of the guys from back in the day who were in personal development, almost all of them, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, even people like Tony Robbins and this guy Paul J. Meyer, a lot of them were in Brian Tracy, a lot of them were in sales. And I'm talking about what they used to call belly-to-belly, nose-to-nose sales, where you would actually sit down in people's living rooms and sell them something face-to-face, person-to-person, and just one by one go out and sell stuff. So Paul J. Meyer, he was talking about that. And he had this book, this little pamphlet booklet, and there was a story. It was called That Something. That Something. You could probably find this online somewhere. And the book is real short. It's probably like 30 pages. And it's one of those little books, that could fit in your back pocket. It was like one of those. And he gave them away at this event. And I kept that book, even from back then. I still have it to this very day on my shelf in my office. And in that book, this guy is a story. It's basically an allegorical tale. So it's basically like a motivational kind of inspirational story, but it's told through is a motivational motivational piece told through story. So in this story, one of the things that the guy in the story, like the hero in the story, he goes from being like this bum and he becomes successful. You read the whole story, it tells it. I'm just summarizing it. But one of the things that he says at the end of the story, the guy who became like the hero, he goes from being a nobody, like broke beggar on the street, to becoming this really successful individual. The key to his success was a 2-word phrase called I will. I space W-I-L-L. I will. Not I should, not I might, not I need to, not I know it's important to. That's the kind of things that a lot of y'all be saying to yourselves. I should, I might, I need to, I'm thinking about it, I've been looking at it, I considered it. None of those is going to move you to action, folks. The only thing that moves you to action is I will, an absolute, a demand of yourself. If you read my book, The Mental Workbook, I have a section in there, a whole section in there where I show you how to write out how you need to be talking to yourself. Like your actual self-conversation is not just things that you think to yourself in your head. They're things you actually say out loud, and there's a process to how you do it. I lay it out in that book, and one of the things that I have you do is make a demand of yourself. Every single day, you're making demands of yourself, not suggestions to yourself. Auto-suggestion is part of it, but there's a demand that comes with it. And I lay that all out in my book, The Mental Workbook. So if you haven't read that book, you can get it by going to thirddaybook.com. Then on the third page of that funnel, just say, yes, I want to offer you the 4-book bundle, which includes 3 other books. The Mental Workbook is one of those books. You need that because you're the most successful people. And I just said this, and you, when you are at your most successful, do things by giving yourself demands, commands, absolutes. This absolutely is happening. I am doing it. I am committed to this action. This is the way that it's happening. This is the process that I'm following. Get rid of, let me tell you what you need to stop saying to yourself. I should do this. I know I need to do this. I know I need to take care of that. I know this is something I need to address. I've been thinking about this. I was looking at that. I considered this. All of these kind of statements, all these kind of bullshit halfway statements, I hear these things from people all the time. And the people who say these kind of things already know what kind of situation they're in. As a matter of fact, most of the time, they already told me what situation they're in. They're not getting the thing that they want. They're not doing the things that they want to do. And this is the reason. It's because of the way you're talking to yourself. You're telling yourself stuff that maybe, should, could, would. Nobody listens to that. Nobody cares about that. As the saying goes, one of my mans was from the South. When I was in college, he used to say, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. So we don't need ifs. We need absolutes, folks. So here's the bottom line call to action. If I was to sum this up, you need to start giving yourself demands and honoring your own word to yourself. And you need to do it on a consistent basis, not just one time because you're thinking about it right now. You need a process for doing this. And that's why I told you about the Mental Workbook. That book is a process for doing this. So you could do it every day, and you could do it in a way that it sticks with you, not just something that you did one time and you get all hyped up and excited and then you don't do it again for the rest of your life, which is what most people do. And this is why most people are not successful. So get the Mental Workbook, and here's the other 2 things you can do. First of all, text me. Get my daily motivation straight to your phone every single day. My number is 305-384-6894. Then go to workonyourgame.net. All you 6-figure earners, you want to get to the 7-figure level, there are 5 things that all 7-figure businesses are doing and business people are doing that 6-figure people are not doing. I'm going to tell you what they are and how you can implement them into your business. That's at workonyourgame.net. Training is free. Just give you time. Work on your game. Dre all day.